He was a bird that can fly high, and I flush ducks and he catch them like today. But if he saw I unhooked the bird and saw some Mexican ducks flying around, he go and catch them. He was a really strong bird. I think that the drone helps him to do that.
Hey, how's it going, everyone? Welcome back for another episode of the Falconry Told podcast, and this episode is the first episode of our part 2 of our Mexican falconry series, and thanks to the NAFA and Falconry Fund Small Grants Program, we were able to head back down to Mexico and get some more conversations recorded for you with a lot of other really good Mexican falconers, and these guys had a lot of great input and really cool stories and experiences to tell. I really look forward to sharing the rest of this series with you. So once again, thank you very much to the North American Falconers Association and the Falconry Fund for the funds to be able to help make projects like this possible. If you're interested in finding out more information about NAFA or the Falconry Fund, or want to figure out how to join or contribute in any way, just head to n-a-f-a.com for the North American Falconers Association, and also falconryfund.org. And this first episode was recorded after the first very long day in the field. Got a chance to catch up with Rodrigo and talk about some of the flights from the day and some of his different experiences with some of the different birds he's flown. So I hope you all really enjoy this first episode, and thanks as always for tuning in and going on our travels with us. Here we go. It's too bad that your bird didn't decide to turn around and do what she was supposed to do on that duck today, but it was a good flight that you had, and it's very cool. How long have you been flying that particular peregrine?
That bird is from my brother. Mm-hmm. I lost one bird with avian influenza last September, and my brother said, "You can fly my bird. It's a passage female, 8 years ago, and I've been flying her like for 3 or 4 months."
Cool. Well, yeah. So, is that the only bird you're currently flying then?
And also a goshawk, male goshawk.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Well, and as far as that goshawk, that was the one that I saw fly earlier today, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you said that was a hybrid Finnish and Russian,
it's
like
across,
Siberian.
Finnish and Russian, yes.
Okay. Cool. Well, how's your season been going overall?
Not quite good. I lost my 2 birds. I fly a male peregrine, a homebreed male peregrine. Mm-hmm. It was his 5th season, and the guy that helped me in my house and with the birds and with the dogs and everything opened the muse just one day before I getting him out of the chamber, and he got out, and I didn't find him. That was my male peregrine, and 1 year Barbary hybrid. I was flying for. It was his 3rd season. He died with the avian influenza.
Okay.
Yeah, he caught a sandpiper, and 10 days after, he starts like his faces were like green, radioactive green.
Right.
And a guy who flies with me, he's a vet, and he told me that he may have a liver or a kidney damage. And after that, 72 hours later, he was dead with avian influenza.
No, that's the first instance I've heard of it being from something like a sandpiper. You know, I mean,
yeah.
I know, of course, in the States, as you know, it's mostly ducks. You know that. For
I think that was the sandpiper, but he catch a few ducks after that sandpiper.
Okay.
Like 5 or 6, I don't know.
Could have been just as well. Yeah.
Any other bird.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, I'm. There's been a lot of guys that have lost birds this season to that, unfortunately, and
it's bad.
Yeah, and it's interesting though that most of the cases that I've heard where birds have died from that, though, it's been fairly quicker than that. It's been a lot, sometimes not even a full 24 hours before the bird has died. So it's.
I think the bird was strong, too strong, and he passed away. I think it was more than 72 hours. I think that were 96 hours, like a week. I think.
Yeah.
But he get blind. He got he died like an horrible way.
Yeah. Well, that sucks.
Yeah.
I hate to hear that, but at least you're able to fly these other two birds in the meantime, and at least make something of
the Goshawk, Rodrigo Munro, you know him. He gave it to me, and I've been flying him like for 3 or 4 months, 2 or 3 months, and I've been chasing Quail and middle larks, and I got fun with him, but it's not really my thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand. It's like I said, at least you've been able to find some degree of fun with all of the the sucky stuff. It's never fun. We've all lost birds. If you've been doing this long enough, everybody loses birds somehow or another. But it's too bad. Well, how long have you been doing this overall?
I think 38 years. I'm 45, and I started flying falcons at Harris Hawks when I was 7 or 8 years old. My father came one night and said, "Look what I got." It was a female Harris Hawk, and it was trained already. And my brother and I get in love with the bird, and we start flying her to the feast. Only he got in one corner of a park, and I got in the other corner, and we just fly her. And one time he gets on a pole, and he get electrocuted.
Ugh.
Yeah.
How long did you have that bird?
I think like a year or something. And then my father, there was a guy in our neighborhood that flies another Harris Hawk. And we asked him where we can get another one, and we go to a market and got another Harris Hawk chicks, and we trained them. We have the lucky that we knew that guy, and he teach us how to train a bird, but we didn't hunt with her. With the birds, we only fly them.
Okay, so basically, you weren't even. You were still single digits as far as age, and messing with your first raptor, and one of those was technically an imprint Harris Hawk.
Yeah.
No, at least you had, like you said, the guy that there that he was able to help you some. But I know, even being in my 30s and dealing with an imprint Harris before, it wasn't definitely.
They're like crazy birds. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely is not my thing either. I definitely prefer either, chamber raised or whatever for that. But it's commendable that you at least were able to keep the bird in good health and stuff while you had it, even though you weren't actively hunting it. It was still decent practice for you at such a young age, to have those birds. But no, that's interesting. Well, where did it go from there then?
Then we start meeting some other people who fly Harris Hawks and red-tailed hawks, and we go we start going to the field and fly the birds, but we didn't like them to catch things, and they started to hunt rabbits, and we said that, well, they can hunt quarry, and we start to like that to hunt with them, and then we start hunting squirrels and bunnies, and we start hunting ducks with the Harris Hawks. The Harris Hawks go to a tree or something. They saw the ducks and they start hunting them.
Yeah.
That's how we start to hunt with the Harris Hawk.
Or how much after you initially got your first bird was that?
I think like 3 or 4 years before we got 11 or 12 years old.
Yeah, so still really young.
Yeah. We can't move to other sites to hunt, and then my father started to taking us to other places to hunt.
Basically, was that just during the weekends then?
Yeah,
Not so much through the week. Yeah, just weekends.
Yeah,
thing.
in the weekdays we only fly the Harris Hawk on the park next to our house, and on weekends we go to the field and hunt quails and rabbits with the birds. Yeah.
Well, and how far did you have to go for that?
In that time, I think 25 or 30 minutes we get to the field and we can hunt.
So when you were that young, still around where you were living at the time, there were still a lot of places that were kind of close.
Yeah, we had good spots to hunt.
Yeah. And so what area was that in particular that
it was
you were?
The state of Mexico. There were hills near the city. I think like 20 minutes away from the city, and it's at a place that's called Atizapan, and there were hills, and we have many quails there.
Okay.
And we fly them, yeah.
All right. How many different species of quail were around?
No, only Moctezuma quail.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, cool. So, I mean, it sounds like you guys had an interesting start then. I mean, your dad just randomly brings home a Harris Hawk and, thought it was a good idea just to start. Well, out of curiosity, before you really knew what you guys were kind of doing with the birds and stuff, I mean, what were you guys, feeding it and what were you, doing to try and just train it to come to the glove and stuff with no guidance at that time? I'm just curious.
We gave him we feed them with chick necks. Only that. We didn't know. We don't have. We gave what they hunt, but mostly with chicken breast and chicken neck, chicken with chicken. Okay. Yeah, with chicken.
You just go and buy it at the market, or
to the supermarket or the grocery.
Sure.
And we buy chicken and we feed them with chicken.
I gotcha. Well, so at that point, you're at that point roughly 12 years old and 11, 12 years old, and you have a new interest in starting to actually hunt and take game with the bird. About what age was it that you thought that you started kind of getting interested in some of the other species?
I think like we fly Harris Hawk for another 10 years, I think. Only Harris Hawk. We got some red tails and something like that, but mostly Harris. And when we got, I think at 25 years old, we start getting involved with long wings.
And like just peregrines in particular? Or?
Yeah, peregrines, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, passage peregrines, yeah.
All right.
I knew a guy, Salvador Fuentes. He's a good falconer, and he teaches us how to fly peregrines. And since then, I don't know. Since then, we fly the peregrine falcons. Yeah.
So about, like I said, after when you started flying the peregrines, then what were you taught then initially, and kind of where were the areas that you were trying to hunt kind of in correspondence then to, or kind of close to where you were growing up? Like how far were the areas that you were having to go for that then?
I think 40 minutes away from home, we have some spots that we can do baggies with pigeons, and in August we can fly sandpipers, and there's some ponds over there, and we fly ducks too. 40 minutes. In that spot now is the airport, the new airport, the IFA, and we can fly them there now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's the running theme of almost every episode that we do, everybody seems to just keep losing spots more and more as time goes on. But so since then, throughout the rest of your adult life and stuff, has it been pretty much predominantly long wings that you've liked flying then? Has it been like mostly long wings that you've preferred to or liked, enjoyed, like had fun flying? Or
we still fly Harris Hawks. Mm-hmm. I fly in red-headed Merlin. Mm-hmm. There's a guy here in Mexico that breed them, and I fly red-headed Merlin for 3 or 4 seasons. It was a great bird.
Yeah.
If you catch middle larks, mourning doves, all kind of little birds, mm-hmm. and I fly also hybrids. I fly a Perlin mm-hmm. for I think 6 or 7 years. I fly other birds. Yeah, I fly also a Goshawk.
Okay. So as far as like the red-headed Merlin and the Perlin, I haven't talked to too many people that have flown the red-headed, Falcon or Merlin or whatever you prefer to call it. I haven't talked to too many guys that have flown them, but the ones that I have talked to have said that they can be a little bit more on like the high strung, like a little bit more nervous, at times. And in comparison to some of the other smaller Falcons that you've flown in particular, what was their temperament like in comparison as far as?
I think he was a nice bird. He was an Iges, an imprinted bird. And the only problem I had is to hood him.
Oh, okay.
It was unhoodable. It was a fight all the time. Mm-hmm. But I should hood him every time because if I didn't hood him, he broke his tail.
Broke his feathers. Yeah. Well, like I said, I've always kind of wondered, how their flight style was in comparison to, our standard Merlins or Perlins or,
the first year I fly him like an aplomado.
Just like direct, like tail chase type flights.
Tail chase all the time. He caught many middle larks. Mm-hmm. He also catch every middle lark he thought he catch him. Then the next season I tried to pull him up mm-hmm. With baggies, and he started to getting up, and I got some quail. I got some mourning doves, mm-hmm. but the rate of success was too low comparison with the first season. Mm-hmm. So I think they are birds that tail chase. I don't think they
wait on very well.
No. Yeah. I think like if they wait on like for 5 minutes or 7 minutes, it was too long, mm-hmm. and he started to decrease his success. And I think it's more like an African aplomado, but smaller.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, like I said, I've not really talked to too many people that I've been able to get comparisons on.
I also write an article for Falconry magazine, mm-hmm. American Falconry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It was a nice bird. I hunt a lot of things with him: quail, middle larks, mourning doves, sandpipers. It was a nice bird. He was killed by a red tail. Yeah, in his third season, the fourth season, I don't know. He went for a sandpiper, and I think he got him. He got the sandpiper, but a red tail catch him and eat him. The next day I found him. I found the transmitter and one leg of the bird. I would like to fly a female. They're like living baits,
Yeah, just see what the difference is.
Yeah.
Well, I know one of the guys I talked to before that has flown them kind of said sort of the same thing to what you said. They're kind of more pursuit, chase style birds, and they're a little bit more like aplomados and jeers and things like that.
They are longer tail and shorter wings. And for example, a Merlin is longer wings and shorter tail. I think Merlin is more like a peregrine.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard, I've heard a lot of different comparisons with that too. But as far as the Perlin goes, then I mean, like I said, I've only known of a couple guys that have really flown them with a whole lot of success. But I mean, what did you think of the Perlin?
The Perlin was a tough bird. He was not too high. I think he flies like 50 or 60 meters above. And he was good with killdeers and mourning doves. But I got him. It was a female. I got her where she was 7 years old, and she was a bird like he has passed with several hands, and it was tough to get her. But I have success with that bird. I fly ducks. I fly mourning doves. I fly killdeers. She was she didn't have good manners. She was like angry all the time. She grabbed me all the time, and I would fly another one. But if I had her in an IJAS or like in the first year, no.
I mean, some guys just prefer to fly, the ISIS or the, whatever from imprints or whatever, as far as falcons go, and other people just, swear by the chamber raised birds or even, whatever. But yeah, no, I mean, and I've heard both ways too with aplomados as well. Some people swear by one or the other as far as, the imprint.
I have flown imprints and parent raised aplomados. I prefer parent raised because they don't scream all the time. An aplomado that screams is like hell. You can keep them anywhere. You don't live with one of those birds.
Yeah,
we breed out aplomados and peregrine falcons. So some years we incubate the eggs and imprint the birds, and we sell them imprinted or parent raised. I prefer parent raised birds.
Yeah. Well, and it's kind of funny you mentioned that because the couple of guys that I've talked to that have flown imprints or try to fly imprints versus chambers, will never. I mean, there's a couple of guys that just won't fly aplomados ever again either, and part of the reason why is because of that very reason. They just got absolutely tired of the screaming and just did not like.
Didn't shut up like never. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as far as flight style and everything, though, and how hard it was to train them to do what you wanted to do, though, what was the difference between the imprint versus the parent raised?
I think it's the same. You have to get baggies all the time. Baggies. For me, only difference is the screaming. The one that we breed are a cross between Peruvian aplomados and Mexican aplomados. They are a little bigger than Mexican aplomados. If you fly a male with 190 grams, a male that we breed is like 260 grams. They have more weight, and they are faster, I think. Mexican aplomados are smaller than the southern ones.
Okay. So it's it's kind of like Harris Hawks, then only in reverse.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, like I said, I mean, so as far as the aplomados that you've had and stuff, you mainly just flew them like from the fist pursuit style as well.
Yeah. From the fist or for T-perch. And once they really know that they can hunt with the T-perch, they fly well. I think it's the same.
I guess since you kind of briefly mentioned it just a little bit ago, go ahead and talk a little bit about kind of what made you decide to start doing a breeding project and start breeding birds, and why, which particular type of birds that you decided to breed.
Like I mentioned you earlier, I have a twin brother that also is a falconer, and he prefers to do the breeding thing. I don't know. I think it's a challenge for us to breed the birds, and I think it's like a lucky thing. A friend that I think you interviewed him, Carlos Cruz. He gave us an aplomado, a passage female, and we buy a Peruvian male. We make a chambers. We make the mews for them to breed, and after 2 or 3 years they start breeding. I think it was more like a lucky thing, and then I started to buy some parent raised peregrines. I fly them like 1 year or 2, and we start to pair them in other chambers, and they start breeding. I think it was like a lucky thing. We have a ranch in the state of Mexico. It's like 1 hour from here. We start pairing some birds, and we have lucky. We only breed aplomados and peregrine falcons. That's all. No Harris Hawk, no Goshawks, no other things, because we think they are more commercial. I think, but finally, in Mexico, falconers don't like to fly breeding birds. They like to fly passage birds, and it's hard to sell them. Sometimes we gave them to some friends, and it's more like love for the falconry than a business or I don't know. It's like it's pure love for the art, no.
Yeah, so you're not even hardly making back enough money to basically pay for.
No. Even for the food. Well, no.
There's a lot of guys that I know that started breeding projects kind of for the same reason. They just wanted to either see if they could even do it in the first place, and either give birds to friends or whatever. I mean, most guys find out real quick though that it's a lot more hassle than what it's worth, and they stop after a couple of years of trying to do it or whatever. But remind me again, how many years did you say you've been?
I think it's like for 10 years. Aplomados, yes, and peregrines like for 8 or 7 or 8 years. Yeah. But it passed like it's been from 15 years, I think, but in 5 years we didn't breed anything. After 5 years we start breeding, and we start selling. We sell some birds from baitment.
Okay.
There is a market here in Mexico, but for peregrines there is no market. Falconers prefer to fly passage birds.
I gotcha.
And it's a bad thing because Mexican authorities don't see us like a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
They don't like that falconers catch birds from the wild, and they don't see us with good eyes.
Yeah. Well, and that's where education and hopefully the advocacy and different things come into play, where you hope you can get people to listen to all the different benefits of that it has to offer, the good things and stuff eventually. But well, I mean, as far as out of curiosity though, if there was a certain species that you wanted to try to breed or try and possibly do something else with, what would that species be, do you think? If there was a particular type of bird that you would like to either try and fly or breed that you haven't really done anything with yet?
I would like to breed Mexican falcons, prairie falcons.
Mm-hmm.
I love those birds. They're like crazy birds. I love them, but I don't have the opportunity to. Nobody in Mexico breeds them, and we don't see them so often. And what you got to do is to catch passage birds and try to breed them. But I don't like to trap birds.
Yeah, because it's technically you're not technically supposed to.
We're not supposed to.
Right.
Yeah.
I got you. Yeah, the prairies they can be fun, and they can definitely be.
We made several hybrids, aplomado peregrino. I don't think they are so good. They fly, I think, more like an aplomado. But if you want to fly an aplomado, then fly an aplomado. Mm-hmm. If you want to fly a peregrine, then fly a peregrine. I don't think it's a good hybrid. Although, but Gyr peregrines and Gyr barbaries, they are good birds, no? Mm-hmm. I don't think that Gyr peregrine aplomados are a good hybrid birds.
Yeah. Well, there's some guys that have flown, or some women too that have flown Gyr aplomado hybrids too, that had some pretty good things to say about them being.
I think they're similar birds.
Yeah,
they are chaser. They're more chasing birds than higher birds.
Right. Yeah, and whether or not you're going to love or hate that combination is going to depend on what type of style you want to hunt too, whether you want to do pursuit or waiting on,
also, they are really tiny birds, like a female aplomado. Mm-hmm. It's better to fly an aplomado. Mm. I think if you want to fly an aplomado, then fly it.
Yeah. No, there's relevance to that, and there's lots of guys that think the same about Gyr peregrines and hybrids and things like that too. Yeah. And there's a lot of guys that are just purists, and they're like, fly one or the other. They both perfectly capable of doing whatever you want to do, But no, that's interesting. Well, out of curiosity, then, now this is the part where we usually, I know you've been doing this for a very long time, and have probably lots of experiences or things that you can remember as far as either good or bad type of experiences. But what are some of your more memorable either birds or flights or just different experiences that you've had in the field that you'd like to share?
I like to share that the last bird that I fly, the Gyr Barbary hybrid, mm-hmm. I think it was the best bird I ever flown. I made him with a drone. Mm-hmm. For the first season, I only fly him to the drone. I had another peregrine to fly on dogs and other quarry, and But in the second season, I start to hunt sandpipers and killdeers, and so he was like a robot. I don't know if every hybrid bird does that, but he was. He was really like a robot. I moved my hat, and no matter what he was, he came above me, and he waited above me like for an hour, and I can flush everything he catch, quail, sandpipers, everything that he sees. He could hunt from a Mexican duck. It's like a 1,000 grams duck, and he can fly. He can hunt middle lark. He was a very nice bird. That's my favorite bird, and I love him. I love that he sees. I don't know how to say the. He was not very high. I think like 150 meters, and he saw ducks flying in cruise flight. I don't know how to say it. And he goes and catch him like 100 meters up. I like that kind of hunts. He was a good chasing bird.
So he would actually go up and catch ducks as they were just, flying just overhead.
Yeah. I don't flash ducks. He saw ducks, wherever they were, and they go and get him.
Wow.
I love that flight.
That's something else I haven't got to see yet in person. So did you basically, was a situation where you basically already had him basically waiting on overhead and he would just see him and then, go and catch him? Or did you try and actually wait until you saw some flying overhead and then slip him?
Sometimes from the feast, he see the ducks flying, and he go and get them.
Just straight from the fist.
Yeah. Straight from the fist. Yeah. I like that bird. He was a bird that can fly high, and I flush ducks and he catch them like today. But if he saw, I unhooked the bird, and saw some Mexican ducks flying around. He go and catch them. He was a really strong bird. I think that the drone helps him to do that.
Well, and that's interesting you say that, though, because generally speaking, there's some guys that think that you really can't spoil a falcon with the drone, but if you only fly a falcon to the drone, there's plenty of instances though where some falcons get wed to the drone and they don't want to hunt. So that, do you think that was more just that particular bird that was kind of special or unique in that way?
I don't know. It's the only Gyr Barbary that I have flown.
Well, have you tried training any other types of species that way, though, the same way?
No. I started to fly with the drone 3 seasons ago. I will fly another hybrid Gyr Barbary hybrid, and I'll try to do the same. And then I'll tell you. I think that I didn't go throw him baggies, anything, only to the drone for 1 season. Then I get him to the muse, and in second season I start to flush him and throw him baggies. I don't know if that helps. In first season, only to the drone.
I'll be really interested to hear what you have to say about that the next time. When do you think you'll fly another one then?
This year, I think.
You think you'll fly another?
Yeah. And I'll do the same. So for 1 season, I'll fly him to the drone, and then start throwing baggies and flushing quarry.
like I said, I'll be looking forward to what you have to say on that. But
I'll tell you.
Yeah.
2 years from now.
yeah. Well, and as far as any other type of story, as far as a particular hunting experience or anything like that, is there any particular, I don't know, hunt or catch or anything, flight in particular that stands out in your mind?
Once with an Aplomado Falcon, as I told you, I think they are very fast birds, faster than Mexican birds, the ones that we breed. It's not because I breed them.
Sure.
It was not mine. It was from my brother. He catch a killdeer on chase tail, on tail chase. Mm-hmm. It was, I think, like a 500 meters chase, and he grabbed him like 50 years above the ground. It was like you see peregrines flying ducks, and they're much the same thing that you see every time. Mm-hmm. But I only once I saw that I see that an Aplomado take a killdeer on tails in tail chase. I think it's the best flight I ever seen.
About how far did that go?
Oh, I think 400 or 400 meters. It was a open field, and we flushed them like 10 or 20 meters away from us, and we chased him like 50 meters on the ground, and he caught him like I say 400 meters away.
Like I said, it's everybody always seems to have one particular flight or one particular thing that always sticks out in their mind.
That is in my mind all the time.
Yeah.
Well,
that's great. Well, as far as just with your overall falconry experience, and as long as you've been doing this, then what's the best lesson that you think you've learned, or one of the hardest lessons do you think that you've learned in dealing with these birds?
I think it's the one that I got recently with the hybrid. I'm an AFA member, and I received some mails telling me that don't fly ducks, don't fly. I flew them, and I pay a high price for 1 kill.
Yeah,
I think we can wait 1 season or 2 seasons. It's not worth it. Mm-hmm. That to catch 1 duck on 1 sandpiper or whatever you want. You cannot change this for 5 years of hard work, and you can wait. You can wait 1 or the time you need to wait, and you will catch quarry again. That was a hard lesson.
Yeah. Well, I've had the same conversation with a lot of other guys that I hunt with as well. Is that, I mean, how many ducks have you already caught, in your lifetime, and is that one potential duck, is it really worth it? I mean, do you really feel like you need to?
It don't work.
Yeah, I mean, do you really feel like you need to have that one more, one more duck or whatever? I mean, yeah, I mean, and like you said, I mean, in some people's case, also sacrifice however many thousands of dollars for that, hybrid goshawk or hybrid falcon or whatever, and then have to basically spend a whole other season or off season training a whole new bird, and for just the lack of the ability to kind of control yourself, I guess,
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I think that's a good advice, and it
was a very hard lesson.
Yeah, and
it really hurts.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, I think that there's a lot of guys that are probably going to be in your, same position kind of by the end of the season. But Oh, I mean, we can always hope for the best, but I mean, I'll be really interested to hear, as time goes on, this particular strain of flu or whatever. I mean, I'm hoping that, this is like the second season of it being pretty bad, second or third season in a row of it being pretty bad. Now, hopefully it starts to
decrease.
Yeah. Not be as deadly, at least anyway, but who knows? But anyway, well, I mean, as far as just that overall sentiment or just that overall thought of, just what you think is probably a very valuable lesson. I mean, I've been asking people, kind of what other piece of advice, they might want to, pass on, to other generations or new falconers that are, or people that are thinking about getting into falconry. I mean, what one main piece of advice do you think that you could, that you think is really important that you've learned over the years?
I think besides you need obviously money, time, and other things you need to do falconry. For Mexican falconers, I think that they should start flying captive breed birds. Everybody wants to fly passage birds. We need to start thinking different. I think it's I know it's harder work, but we need to start not taking birds from the wild, and we start to fly what complete birds
yeah.
You catch what I want to say.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're just basically just trying to encourage new falconers in particular to mainly just stick with captive bred birds and learn that way rather than learn from taking the nature's natural stock. Basically, is basically what you're saying.
Yeah.
Is it more of just you think that learning with that type of bird is just more ethical to begin with because of?
I think it's an ethical thing.
Gotcha.
Just that. I don't like people to take a bird from the wild. I just don't like it.
Yeah, that's just your personal preference.
Yeah, it's my personal thought. We'll take birds from the wild one time, but I don't see the need to take birds from the wild. Mm-hmm. If you have an opportunity to get a bird from a breeding center, I don't know. It's more difficult, but I don't see the need to take a bird from the wild.
Well, and I mean, and from your perspective, also, it kind of fits what you're able to already supposed to be dealing with here in Mexico anyway.
Yeah.
So, I appreciate you doing this, and I appreciate you all letting me kind of, like I said, tag along for a week and experience what you guys like to do around here in falconry. And like I said, I appreciate your time, and I mean, hopefully the rest of the week will go mostly as good as this morning went. It was a fun morning. Like I said, I got to see some stuff I hadn't seen before, and like I said, I appreciate it. And if nothing else, I guess we can have another quick drink here, and then you can do whatever it is that you're gonna do for the rest of the night, and eventually pass out, I guess, right?
Thank you. It's an honor to have this interview.
Yeah, no, you're welcome, and I'm
a big fan.
Well, and I appreciate it. We appreciate the support, and we're always happy to have people on, especially who have listened from towards the beginning. And thank you very much. And
Thank you,
well, I guess have another shot, and then I'll probably pass out soon too. So.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.